It wasn't that I didn't want kids. I just had career ambition. I had some things that I hadn't accomplished yet. And when my husband asked me on our very first date, how do you feel about marriage and kids? I thought he was joking. I thought I heard him wrong. I mean, who asked that on a very first date, right? Somebody who really wants marriage and kids. That's who asked that on a very first date. And somebody who's ready to move on to the next person if you don't. And I didn't want that because I thought he was awesome. So I told him the only thing that I could, which was, that's great. I want those things too. And sure enough, 1 year into our marriage, he comes into our home beaming from ear to ear because he's just met a social worker named Jamie who specializes in finding foster kids for same-sex couples. At a spin class, he met her, no less. And I thought, wow, okay, this is happening really fast. I was writing a play, not just any play, but the play that was gonna get me out of my day job, the one that was gonna take me to the next level. And I thought to myself, okay, we can do this. I looked at Jesse and he had that smile on his face and I wanted to raise kids with him. We had 2 dogs. We found the time to take them to Runyon Canyon. How difficult could it be, right? So we started to take foster to adopt classes, and this led to us getting background checks, and this led to us having home inspections, and we eventually became certified, and we signed up for something called emergency placement, because that's how newborns come, and Jesse really wanted a newborn. I was secretly hoping for an older kid, so we compromised, and we said we would tell the social worker that we wanted an infant to 4 years old. I wasn't really looking to change diapers. So I continued writing my play. I would carry around a complicated array of moleskin notebooks with me wherever I went, and I would write if I had 30 seconds of downtime. And then one day I was at my day job, and Jesse sends me a text marked urgent. There was a 2-day-old baby boy named Caden at the hospital in Lancaster that had been exposed to crystal meth. He was healthy, though. So I could feel Jesse's joy permeating through my iPhone screen, so I said the only thing I could say, which was yes. He was super excited. I was petrified. I left work at 2 o'clock, I walked in the door, and Jesse looked at me and he went, let's go. And the next thing I knew, we were pulling into the Target on La Cienega to buy a baby car seat, to go and pick up a baby. I said to him on the 405, you realize that this straps him into the car, and that we don't know how to do this, and that if we do it wrong, it's over. He said to me, we know how to do this. He has the patience of a saint, and he reminded me, we took the classes, we're very prepared, and then he proved it by installing it with nothing but the fluorescent lights from a mobile gas station, 2 exits away from the hospital. Suddenly we were pulling in, and I'm still carrying a moleskin notebook because I actually think I might have a minute to write. And a social worker is escorting us in to meet this baby boy for the first time, and time suddenly stood still. Every whirlwind, erratic, frantic, frenzied, how am I going to finish this play, thought vanished the moment I looked into this baby's eyes. I started babbling like an idiot. It really is true. I mean, everything that they tell you, everything that every parent tells you that you hate hearing if you're not a parent yourself because you think they think they're so special, it's true. And suddenly, I just wanted to parent this kid more than anything in my entire life. It was hospital protocol that all babies leave being held by somebody in a wheelchair. Usually it's the mother, but in this case it was me. Suddenly, we go home and our life begins anew. I mean, it was his smile and his scream and the middle of the night feedings, and Jesse took care of him the first half of the day, and then I rushed home from work and I threw off my clothes and I put on these crazy dad outfits, cargo pants with diaper bags and carriers that attached to my body. Everybody in the neighborhood knew us. Carriage rides and stroller rides and the playpen that sat in the lawn. My moleskins sat on a shelf, completely untouched, collecting dust. And we would listen to music, we would listen to Mozart and Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder, and our lives entirely changed. I would just look at him and I would just say, flower, and show him every flower in the yard, really slowly saying it, even though he was nowhere near ready to talk. And I would think to myself, I should be writing, but at the other hand, I just didn't care. I was so much more interested in kicky pants and the pajamas they make with little geese and raccoons. And then the unthinkable happened. The worst imaginable thing is Caden got sick, and he was misdiagnosed with what doctors thought was an adenovirus. And he was sent home from the hospital because he appeared to get better. His fever went away and the rash went away, but he wasn't better. And he was never quite the same. And then 5.5 weeks later, at 7.5 months old, he was in the pediatric unit, the ICU unit at Cedars Hospital, and he went into cardiac arrest and he died. And that was my reaction too. That was our reaction. There was an entire floor of doctors that were trying to save him as Jesse and I stood there and watched. It happened like that. I mean, one minute we were in the yard and we were singing and we were laughing and we were talking to birds. And the next minute a cardiologist was telling Jesse and I to take really good care of each other because couples often divorced. The official cause of death was Kawasaki disease, which is a really rare heart virus. And all I'll say is that ambition, career goals, wanting to get out of my day job, it seems really silly now. And what I learned from the whole experience is that while I had him in my arms, I really appreciated him. And it wasn't in retrospect, it was every moment that he was there. Thanks.